About this time, Dad was offered a job working on a dam project in Pickstown, South Dakota, just outside of Pierre, the state capital of South Dakota. My brother Dick went with him. After about a year on that job, Dad and Dick were offered a job at the Black Hills Ordnance Depot in Igloo, South Dakota, which was way down in the extreme southwest corner of the state. It was actually an army base where munitions were stored and eventually shipped to various bases as directed by the Department of the Army. The ammo bunkers were shaped like igloos. I still had my job at the Alonzo Ward Hotel and was just finishing my junior year in school. About that same time, Dad announced that the whole family was moving to Igloo. That really upset me. I wanted to finish my senior year at my school, and I still had my job. Mom insisted that we were all moving, and she didn't want to hear another word about it. I talked with Mr. Ward at the hotel and told him what was going on at home and asked him if he would be willing to let me have a room at the hotel so I could stay behind and finish my schooling. He agreed, and I was certain Mom and Dad would go along with that. Dad was okay with it, but Mom was a different story. She told me in no uncertain terms that the family would not be separated, period. End of subject. You would have loved my mom. You would have. We arrived in Igloo late at night. My dad and brother had rooms in an army barracks at that time, so I stayed in my brother's room that night, sleeping on a cot. I was not a happy camper. In the morning, I got up and looked out the window. There were rows of barracks, a large building that I later learned was the base grocery store, a laundry, and some other odd, nondescript buildings. My heart sank even deeper. Dad had already made arrangements for our new home, so we immediately moved in. Another shocker. We had moved into a sixplex, which was nothing more than a barracks which had been converted into 6 individual apartments, all on ground level. We had bunk beds. The walls were so thin you could hear everything going on in the units both sides. In my mind, we had moved to another planet, one that was not even civilized. The school on the base was very small. I walked to it on my first day of school expecting it to be a nightmare I would have to endure for a whole year. A bunch of kids were huddled around the grounds laughing and seemed to be enjoying each other's company. What in the world there was to be so happy about escaped me. I met a few of my classmates and very soon found out they were to be my entire class. There were 13 kids in my class. That was it. A bit later, Mr. Jarvis, one of the teachers who was also the athletics coach, introduced himself to me. He said he had heard I had been playing basketball at school in Aberdeen, and he was hoping I would become part of the athletics at Provo High School. This was the first bright spot for me, and I agreed. The school was named after a small municipality some miles down the road from the base and from which their students were authorized to attend school on base as well. Our school teams were named the Provo Rattlers, probably because rattlesnakes were pretty common in the area. Then the coach told me that in addition to playing basketball, I would be required to participate in football and track as well. I told him I was no good at those sports, but he assured me I would have fun with them. And as an aside, the only way I would be permitted to play basketball was to participate in all the other sports too. So I agreed. Something was better than nothing.